When watching manga and anime videos on YouTube, and specifically manga videos, I see all these different kinds of YouTubers making videos on manga that will never leave their number one spot, or the manga that changed their life, or impacted their way of thinking, etc., etc. I then started to wonder when I would find that, because my top one manga would change constantly. At one point it was Vinland Saga, then after a while it was Homunculus, then for a while it was Bakuredo. It felt like with every single amazing manga I read, my number one was changing. I just didn't feel like any of these series impacted me in ways that a true number one should. Then just last summer I was starting and reading manga from my plan to read on my anime list, and I finally found it. My number one manga that impacted me in ways I'll never forget. It's finally time to address the manga in my profile picture for this very channel. My favorite manga of all time, Beck. The story of Beck at its core is a very simple one. Just about a group of friends really into music making a band. But it's so much more than that. From the very beginning, it gave that special feeling that very few manga have ever given me, a feeling of just everything around you vanishes, and the only thing you can see is what's going on in the story. From the very start, you're transported to this universe that you can absolutely become obsessed with. The way each character is introduced is done so well. I really can't praise the story enough. The pacing is incredible. The plot points are amazing. Each and every single arc is truly one of a kind. From start to finish, Beck had me hooked and wouldn't let me go. So far to the point that when I finished it, all I wanted was more chapters. Beck, in my eyes, is a one-of-a-kind masterpiece. Now, our main character Koyoki starts out by being introduced as just a regular 14-year-old kid in high school with not many aspirations, just kind of living day by day. As the story progresses though, he meets one of our side characters, Ryunosuke, who lends him a handkerchief to clean his hurt hand for helping him save his dog. Our main character Koyoki eventually returns this handkerchief and officially meets Ryunosuke, who is a very talented guitarist. Now, the beginning of the story starts out somewhat slow compared to others, but it is all the more necessary and worth it. Each chapter is filled all the way to the top with story and amazing art. Koyoki doesn't even start out listening to music, let alone rock music. The only music he would ever listen to was idol music. Our main character isn't some special talent in the world either. He's very realistic in his motives and finding himself. Beck as a story does a great job at projecting the idea of finding your dreams, making goals, and completing those goals no matter the circumstances. The amount of hardship the band has to go through throughout the story is a lot, and they never end up giving up, making the ending of the manga so much more satisfying. And not just the ending, you end up rooting for each and every single one of our characters as you celebrate every single little W they take along the way, making it a super immersive read. Speaking of side characters, each one feels like a main character. Throughout the story, our main character Koyoki is a guitarist and vocalist for the band, Ryunosuke is the main guitarist for the band, Chiba is another vocalist, Taria is the bassist, and Saku is the drummer. All in all, they form the band Beck. The way each member of the band gets introduced is absolutely amazing. I mean, the characters don't even know each other in the beginning, and they end up being super close by the end of the story. The beginning, or what I personally like to call the formation of the band arc, is done so well. No character feels like they're just thrown in there, making it feel once more very realistic. Each character has their own unique personalities, making the story have tensions either high to the sky or super easygoing, making each performance all that more worth it when they succeed and put on a great show, and all that more gut-wrenching when they have a bad performance. The author does a great job at making you a fan of a band you can't even hear, but you put on any of your favorite bands or your favorite music, and trust me, the concerts in this manga are so incredible. One of my favorite characters in this story is Maho, or Ryunosuke's little sister. A romance develops throughout the story between her and our main character, and it is amazing. I mean, seriously, if the author announced he was making a romance manga, I'd bet on it being incredible. The romance aspect of Beck really added to the Rockstar story so much, making the stakes even higher and giving you a whole other part of the story to cheer on. Such an amazing job done in all aspects of this manga. One thing that really pushes this manga to perfection in my opinion, of course other than the amazing aspects of the story I just talked about, is the amazing knowledge of rock history and music culture that the author has. Just like I talked about in my Awashi video where the author talks all about football tactics and has incredible knowledge of the sport, when an author is super into the story they are creating, it really makes the story all that much better. I mean, the author of Beck is constantly making references to other bands which he either made up, or there's plenty of references to real bands such as Nirvana, AC/DC, the Rolling Stones, etc., etc., and the bands he made up, like Dying Breed, don't feel out of place being talked about in the same conversation as the real bands at all. The author knows all about music, from the instruments to the bands to the individual artists. It really makes the story all that more immersive. Now, the performances are some of the most well done I've seen in manga, really making them so immersive, almost making it feel like you're there. I mean, there are concerts in this manga where they go through their entire set list as you see them performing and the crowd going crazy, and I'll say it once again, really making everything they go through as a band all that much more worth it in the long run. Now, the art for this manga is truly incredible, and it's all about the details. The outfits and the fashion from this manga have inspired multiple outfits that I have worn in real life. The details on what they wear is done really well. I mean, it's one of those special manga where the characters are actually changing clothes throughout the story. And I don't just mean like every arc, I mean every single day we see our characters wearing something else. This manga really is all about the details. The instruments, the clothing, the concerts, every single thing the author draws has so much thought put into it. Truly one of a kind. Now, how did a story with no sound change my music taste forever? When I started reading Beck, I really wasn't listening to anything specific in the first place, kind of just lo-fi and random playlists on YouTube. But around the American tour arc in Beck is when I started having a major interest in Beck, rock music, bands, and all things rock culture. Because they toured in Seattle where I live, seeing them talk about Nirvana and Jimi Hendrix, who are both artists and bands from Seattle, it made me super interested in the music. As I started listening to different bands and really getting into the music, I kept on binging Beck, and over time it completely changed my music taste forever. And not just my music taste, it changed my life. Because of Beck, I own a guitar, a record collection, and a record player. Beck impacted me in ways not just in how to persevere and not give up on my dreams, but at the same time completely changed some of my fashion interests as well as completely changed my music taste. This manga and story will truly stay with me for as long as I live, and in my opinion, Beck is the greatest manga of all time. With that being said, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below if you end up checking this manga out or just your personal opinions on it, as I'd love to hear them. Make sure to hit that notification bell to never miss another upload just like this one, as well as check out some of my other socials linked in the description down below. Be sure to check out one of the videos popping up on screen right about now. But with that being said, as always, thanks for watching. Peace.